Welcome to the hidden corridors of history, where facts blur with myth, and silence often says the most. For centuries, whispers have echoed through time about a secret society shrouded in mystery. A group so elusive, yet so influential, that some claim they didn't just witness world events. They predicted them. Wars, revolutions, collapses of empires, the rise of ideologies that reshaped humanity. Were they prophets, strategists, or something even stranger? In this episode, we uncover the chilling stories, cryptic manuscripts, and unsettling coincidences that suggest a shadow network may have foretold, and perhaps even steered, the course of human destiny. This is the story of the secret society that predicted world events. To grasp the depth of their influence, we must begin in the late 18th century, a time when reason and revolution collided across Europe. It was an age electrified by Enlightenment ideals. Thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Diderot challenged monarchies and religious dogma, calling instead for liberty, reason, and individual rights. But in the shadows of this intellectual awakening, another force was taking shape, a secretive society that sought knowledge not just for reform, but for revelation. This group wasn't born in public salons or universities. It operated in private, behind closed doors, hidden from the eyes of state and church alike. Though their exact origins remain debated, many trace them back to 1776, the same year as the American Revolution, with the founding of the Order of the Illuminati by Bavarian philosopher and law professor Adam Weishaupt. Weishaupt's vision was radical, a network of enlightened individuals who would infiltrate systems of power and reshape society from within. But some believe this society went far beyond political reform. According to controversial texts such as Codex Veritas, a banned manuscript confiscated by the Catholic Church in 1793, this group harbored far older knowledge. Knowledge they claimed originated from ancient mystery schools in Egypt, Babylon, and Sumer. Their symbols were cryptic but deliberate. The all-seeing eye, later adopted on the US dollar bill. Interlocking triangles said to represent spiritual dimensions. Even the Vesica Piscis, a sacred geometry symbol appearing in both early Christian and pagan iconography. Some members were known to use Kabbalistic numerology, while others allegedly studied ancient astronomical charts that predicted solar cycles and geopolitical shifts. According to a 1923 paper by historian Dr. Otto Rahn, found in the Bavarian State Archives, members of this society performed rituals, not as theater, but as training, ways to reinforce memory, intuition, and precognition. Their mission, Rahn claimed, was not only to preserve forbidden truths, but to ensure these truths would surface at specific times, when the world was most ready, or most vulnerable. And among all the whispers surrounding their practices, one claim has always stood out. They didn't just study the past, they foresaw the future. Among the most chilling claims tied to this secretive society are documents said to have been written years before the streets of Paris erupted in bloodshed. Messages that some believe didn't merely foresee civil unrest, but predicted the complete dismantling of the French monarchy. At the center of these claims is a letter allegedly dated May 1st, 1776, a symbolic date for both revolution and secrecy. The document is attributed to Jean-Baptiste Leclerc, a relatively obscure Enlightenment thinker with radical leanings. Though little survives of Leclerc's writings, his name appears in the correspondence of other Enlightenment radicals, most notably in a private letter written by Louis-Sébastien Mercier, who claimed Leclerc spoke often of a silent fire rising to swallow the crown. In the disputed 1776 letter, Leclerc warns of a coming cleansing fire that will consume the symbols of divine right, and makes cryptic reference to an illumination rising in the west that shall render thrones irrelevant. The use of the word illumination is particularly striking, occurring the very same year as the founding of the Bavarian Illuminati by Adam Weishaupt, a former canon law professor at the University of Ingolstadt. The Order of the Illuminati, as it was formerly known, was not a myth. It was real, and its mission, outlined in the group's internal documents, was clear: to abolish monarchies, undermine organized religion, and restructure societies based on reason, secularism, and radical equality. Though officially disbanded by the Bavarian government in 1785, many believe the group simply went underground, weaving itself into the dense web of Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, and Enlightenment-era revolutionary clubs across Europe. By the late 1780s, France teetered on the edge of collapse. The monarchy was drowning in debt, bread prices soared, Enlightenment philosophy spread like wildfire, challenging centuries of tradition. But to those who believe in the society's guiding hand, these weren't just the chaotic tremors of a dying regime. They were the outcome of careful planning. Philosophes such as Voltaire, Diderot, and Rousseau, though never confirmed to be members of any secret order, were widely revered by revolutionary cells. Their works were not just read, they were studied, copied by hand, smuggled into banned libraries, and discussed in hushed tones within private salons. Some of these salons, especially those tied to Masonic lodges in Paris, Lyon, and Strasbourg, became ideological training grounds for France's future revolutionaries. The phrase, "topple the thrones," is not only found in the so-called Leclerc letter, but has also appeared in recovered pamphlets and encrypted messages from the Société des Amis des Noirs and Les Amis de la Constitution, early revolutionary networks linked to secret societies. Some of these pamphlets, preserved in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, contain symbols later associated with Illuminist iconography, interlocking triangles, the eye in the pyramid, and alchemical motifs. And then, on July 14, 1789, the Bastille fell. The flashpoint of the French Revolution had arrived. The monarchy's days were numbered. Within 3 years, King Louis XVI would be dead by guillotine. In hindsight, the language from 13 years earlier takes on an almost supernatural clarity. Was Leclerc just another radical voice echoing Enlightenment fervor? Or was he a messenger, channeling the intentions of a covert organization determined to unmake the old world? If real, these letters aren't predictions. They are blueprints. They imply that the French Revolution wasn't simply a historical inevitability. It may have been a meticulously engineered event, guided by a network that sought to control not just politics, but the future itself. Of course, this narrative has no shortage of doubters. Mainstream historians often dismiss these so-called prophecies as classic cases of apophenia, our brain's tendency to impose patterns on randomness. They argue that many of these so-called predictions are the product of confirmation bias, anachronistic interpretations, or outright forgeries. Letters are conveniently discovered decades or centuries later. Quotes appear with no primary sources. Dates seem suspiciously tidy. To scholars, what some call foresight is often just poetic language, retrofitted with meaning after the fact. And yet, others take a far more chilling view. To these theorists, the society's reach runs far deeper than lost letters or Enlightenment salons. They argue it didn't predict history, it orchestrated it. According to this perspective, the society never disappeared. It evolved, embedding itself quietly into the infrastructure of modern power. Think tanks, financial institutions, tech conglomerates, even global advisory councils. Their influence, they claim, is invisible but vast, reshaping economies, elections, even ideologies behind closed doors. Sound like paranoia, perhaps? But then come the stories. A classified British intelligence memo from 1943 referring to unusual correspondence between unnamed civilian academic networks in Switzerland and Sweden, discussing the post-war order before the war had ended. The 1972 Bilderberg Group transcript, leaked decades later, discussing population control strategies eerily similar to modern AI ethics debates. The mysterious disappearance of Dr. Carla Brunetti, an Italian mathematician and encryption specialist who was reportedly researching a Renaissance-era manuscript linked to coded world cycle predictions, and vanished without a trace in 1998. Her apartment, when searched, revealed torn pages, polyalphabetic ciphers, and a business card from the Trilateral Commission. Each of these on its own is easy to dismiss, but together they form a shadow, the outline of something larger, and always just behind the veil, a sense that someone, somewhere, still knows what's coming next. Fast forward to today. Once again, the world trembles. polarized, unstable, and gripped by upheaval. But now, history doesn't just seem to repeat. It accelerates, as if guided by unseen forces replaying the same patterns at breakneck speed. And hauntingly, the themes whispered by this secretive society centuries ago, they're playing out right in front of us. Take 9/11s. In the wake of that catastrophic morning, fringe researchers revisited obscure writings from the early 20th century, texts attributed to esoteric philosophical circles in Europe and the US. One particularly unnerving excerpt, dated 1932, describes a great fire that shall consume the twin pillars of commerce, casting a long shadow across the empire of the eagle. Coincidence? Or something more unsettling? Then there's the rise of algorithmic governance, the way invisible code now curates our thoughts, guides our choices, and monitors our lives. In 1998, a researcher named Dr. Elise Moreau reportedly uncovered an encrypted letter within a Masonic collection in Lyon. It warned of a future ruled by unseen equations, where truth will be engineered, not discovered, and belief shall be a product of code. This, before Facebook, before Cambridge Analytica, before predictive policing and algorithmic bias became part of our vocabulary. And what of elections, once sacred rituals of democracy? Today, they are battlegrounds of digital warfare, deepfakes, psychological manipulation, bot armies, foreign interference. An anonymously held manuscript from 1798, found in a private Viennese archive, describes an age when kings will no longer wear crowns, but mask themselves behind networks, when illusion shall triumph over fact, and the people will cheer their own manipulation, mistaking spectacle for truth. Some argue that all of this is just pattern-seeking, reading modern fears into old metaphors. Others, however, believe the signs were always there, waiting, hidden in plain sight, ignored until it was too late. Whether these are true prophecies or reflections of our darkest fears, one message endures across time. Question, observe, think, prepare. Because maybe the greatest prophecy isn't about fire or revolution. Maybe it's this. An uninformed society is the easiest to control. So, did this shadowy society truly foresee the fall of kings and the rise of nations? Did they possess secret knowledge? Or simply the clarity to read the signs before the rest of the world caught up? Whatever the truth, their legacy lingers. They challenged authority. They sought meaning in chaos. And maybe, just maybe, they left behind warnings for those willing to look. What do you think? Were these messages genuine prophecies or calculated manipulation? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into hidden histories, forbidden knowledge, and the strange machinery behind time and power. Until next time, stay aware, stay curious, and always question the narrative.